Hello, my name is Reynard from Web Hosting for South Africa, and I'm going to be showing you how to install WordPress. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you've never installed WordPress before and that you have already activated your hosting service with Web Hosting for South Africa. Chances are that you've already received your welcoming email and you've either logged onto your Web Hosting for South Africa customer dashboard, or alternatively, you can simply navigate to our homepage. Once on our homepage, on the top right hand side corner, you'll see there's a section called Customer Login. You will be able to log on using the email address used during the registration process and the password provided. Once you've logged on, you'll arrive at the Web Hosting for South Africa Customer Center. On this particular dashboard, you'll be able to see a summary of the services that are active, the amount of domains that you've got registered, any support tickets, as well as your invoice history. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're interested in the unlimited web hosting package so that we can install WordPress. Once selected, you'll see on the left-hand action bar that there's an option called Log On to Cpanel. When you arrive in Cpanel, you are ready to start the installation process of WordPress. But before we do that, I recommend that you take advantage of our free SSL certificates and issue your certificate before you start the physical WordPress installation. To be able to install the SSL certificate, simply scroll down to the security section and click on something called Let's Encrypt SSL. When Let's Encrypt SSL is open, simply click on Issue. What is nice about Let's Encrypt SSL is that you can protect all the different elements of your domain. As in this particular example, we will be activating the mail.domainname section, which receives all your emails, and we'll also be activating the www.domainname section. Once the SSL certificate has been issued, you'll receive confirmation that it's active and ready to use. Now, we simply want to navigate straight back to our main Cpanel dashboard. Once arriving here, we are finally ready to install WordPress. To install WordPress, scroll all the way to the bottom, up and until where you see all the apps installers. On the left-hand side, you'll see the WordPress icon. Your first selection you have to make is what version of WordPress would you like to install. If you are new to WordPress, I would recommend that you install the latest version of WordPress. You have to keep in mind that WordPress is one of the most widely used CMS systems in the world. With that said, it is also most likely one of the most attacked systems in the world as well. So, every time a new version of WordPress is released, not only new features are included, but vulnerability patches as well. The second option we've got is the installation URL of our website. Since we've installed the SSL certificate, I highly recommend that you select one of the HTTPS options. Personally, I like the HTTPS www.domainname installation path. The last section of the installation URL is the in directory. By default, WP is selected. This is a common area where people are making mistakes. What I recommend you do is remove the WP from in directory. What that would mean is that should people want to visit your website, they simply have to select www.webdesignforsouthafrica.co.za to access your website. The second section is the site settings. The very first one is site name. This is typically where you would enter your company name. And the second one would be the site description, where you would be placing a short description about your website. The third section that you need to select is your admin account. That would include the username, password, and email address for the website. When selecting a username, try and select a username that is only known to you. Try and avoid the most commonly used username combinations, as an example, admin, administrator, or even your company name. You have to keep in mind that when hackers try and gain access to your website, they will be using an attack method known as a brute force attack. Brute force attacks are based on a combination of username and passwords that are most commonly used to gain access to your website. We would also recommend that you use a secure administration password. What we do like about the WordPress installation is that you can use the golden key functionality to generate a secure, randomly generated password. The admin email address is the email address that your WordPress website will be using to notify you of important events on the website. I would recommend that you use one of your company website addresses as this administration email address. Then we are able to select the language of the website. I'm not able to speak Dutch, Finnish, French, German, Hebrew, or Arabic, so in my particular case, I'm just simply going to select English. Then we are able to select additional plugins. The login limiter attempts. protects you against brute force attacks by limiting the number of login attempts to your WordPress website. As explained, during brute force attacks, hackers will try multiple account login details to access your site. This plugin enables or limits the amount of times that they are able to try and log on. It's not foolproof, but it is an additional layer of security, and any additional layers of security is highly advisable. The second option is the classic editor. WordPress does have the Gutenberg block editor or the old classic editor. I'm from old school WordPress, and my personal preference is using the classical editor. This is completely optional and not a requirement. Under the advanced options, we have got the ability to define specifically to what database WordPress needs to install. I don't recommend, if you're a first-time installer, to change any of these settings and stay with the default settings. Last but not least, you've got the option of selecting the WordPress theme that you would like to use. If you're unsure of exactly what theme you want to use, it's not important and you can select it at a later stage. During my How to Design on WordPress tutorial, I will be covering this again and showing you exactly how to select the theme even after you've installed WordPress. Last but not least, you just have to simply click Install. The installation will only take a couple of seconds and should be completed momentarily. Once completed, you will see the main URL of the website as well as the WordPress installation URL. If I click on the website address, I'm able to see WordPress that's been installed and fully operational. The second URL is my logon administration URL, where I'm actually logging into the backend of WordPress. Once you successfully logged in and see the Welcome to WordPress screen, you know that you successfully installed WordPress and that you're ready to start designing your site. Congratulations on completing your WordPress installation. I certainly hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave your comments and feedback at the section below. Should you need any technical assistance, kindly log on to your Web Hosting for South Africa customer dashboard and open up a support ticket. I'm looking forward to be of assistance to you on the next tutorial. Up and until then, see ya.